Welcome everyone and happy Wednesday. I will give it a minute to give attendees an opportunity to join. Hello, I'm Melissa, Construction Success Manager at Fieldwire. I'd like to thank you for joining us today for a live webinar, Fieldwire for MEP Subcontractors Advanced Session. To kick things off, just some housekeeping announcements. A reminder that this webinar will be recorded. A copy of the recording along with the slide deck will be emailed to you at the conclusion of this session. To keep things on track, attendees will be muted throughout the session. You may input your comments in the chat and questions in the Q&A panes. We will try our best to get to all of your questions during the session and at the end of the presentation during the Q&A. For any questions that we didn't address during the session, we will have one of our experts reach out to you directly. We will also be sending a survey after this webinar where you can provide your feedback in today's session and let us know how we did and how we can improve in future webinars. With that, I'll pass this over to your speaker and construction expert, Josh Kinzel. Josh, the stage is all yours.
Thanks, Mel. I appreciate it. Before we start, I just want to go over a quick agenda. So what we're going to do is we'll jump into introductions where I'll introduce myself formally, and then Stephen will have a chance to talk about himself and his business, and then we'll jump into the meat of it, which is going to be a discussion and demo of some of the workflows him and his team have been executing on for quite a while with Fieldwire. Then what we'll do is we'll open it up to a Q&A session towards the end. And finally, we'll just send off with some resources for you to contact us if you have any questions or would like to move forward with it. So with that, I will jump into the introductions. So as I said, my name's Josh Kinzel. I'm a construction success team manager here at Fieldwire. I come from the electrical industry with 17 years of experience. And I really saw the value in Fieldwire and decided to make the jump over here to help other construction professionals understand the value that softwares like ours bring to their projects. And also, I'm kind of selfish and I want to see subcontractors take control of their projects a little bit more. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Stephen. Stephen, do your thing.
Hi, thanks. So yep, my name's Stephen Clements. I been in the trade basically my entire life. Started with DC in 2005 while I was still in high school, and after a brief stint in college, came back and took over the business side of things in 2011. And from that time, we've grown from 10 employees to around 55. We specialize in commercial, industrial, and automation controls. We're a UL 508A panel building shop and do work all over the nation and the globe. We started using Fieldwire in 2018. It has been a major tool in our growth and development, along with minimizing our office overhead so we can run a crew of 50 plus with only 4 full-time office people.
That's impressive. Yeah, well, with that, I'd like to kind of jump in and take a look at some of this. So we'll go ahead and jump into the demonstration part of it. And I think one of the first things that we wanted to tackle and talk about was your bidding and estimating process. So this is a unique use case that not many people are taking advantage of within Fieldwire. We are not an estimating platform solely, but we do have a lot of flexibility to be able to track and manage that. So I'm wondering if you'd give us a quick run through on what we're seeing here on this project.
So we've developed through Fieldwire a way to track our bidding and estimating through not only the different estimators that we have. As you can see, each column is a different estimator of ours, and overall management and completion and verified. The custom statuses really helped us get creative on this. So we've had a quote list, and Josh, if you want to click on task 208, you can see how we've generated our quoting procedure, so we never duplicate on our quote numbers. And the way that we've got this is a blue check mark means that it's a quote that's been sent out. A red X is a quote that ended up not being sent out, and a white or nothing or a gray dash is a quote that's being worked on actively.
Awesome. Yeah. So I know we had a little bit of an interesting story to tell about this process a while back. You want to kind of elaborate on the checklist snafu that we ran through?
We started using this back in 2018 and created a next quote number. And through that, we had over 1,000 checklists or checkpoints on a single task. And it caused us to crash part of Fieldwire for us. It was quite an ordeal for a couple of hours, really. Fieldwire was great and helped us get it resolved quickly, but yeah, we maxed it out.
We didn't know there was a max until we found it. That's what we love about the relationship with our customers, is anytime there's a problem, we strive to immediately find a remedy for it, and then also take that feedback and go, how do we improve this so it doesn't happen next time?
Yes.
So I appreciate that.
It was great.
Awesome. So one of the things that we also kind of wanted to go through and take a look at was one of your completed tasks here. And I think we had a task
101.
101 here that we wanted to take a look at. And can you kind of give us a rundown as to what it looks like when your estimators are actually bidding it? We know that they've got their quote number, that's your title up here, and then you start filling out a checklist, bid forms, things like that.
Yep. So through this task, we've created checklists just so that we make sure we're hitting every phase of the bidding process, through the bid form, the quote workup, any alternates, options, special conditions, and then finalized and submitted, and then our finalized bid form here, and the form we attach to the task so that it's all in one place. And this we again, through the use of custom forms, we were able to take our former bid sheet and incorporate it right into Fieldwire so that everything is known right away. And we have a full bid form throughout here, and we attach the quotes, scope of work, any general contractors that are on there, and yeah, it just helps us clarify and make sure we're not missing anything. And then if there's we attach the quote in there, so again, it's all a one spot, and it's easily accessed, and you can click it. It's all right there. So if we're working from a job trailer or the office, it's all accessible.
I love it. One-stop shop.
Yep. And then
so
I think
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think we planned on going through a full project as well.
Yes, sir. We're going to take a look at that here in a second. One of the things that I wanted to point out was the idea of being able to track over here your individual your checks, and what's been sent out, what's pending, what's not. So another option that a lot of people aren't aware of, and I know every company's different and the way they operate, but being able to utilize the start and end date here gives you what I call the free three statuses. So if you utilize the start and end date on any task, whether it's a bidding opportunity or not, you're able to go through and create a due today, in progress, and overdue task. So if you have your task, your actual end date for your quote, you can put it in there. Stephen and his team have a great system set up, but just know if you're trying to set that up, that is an option as well. Awesome. One of the things that we wanted to take a look at was your form section here, and let you know that all your bid forms aren't just lost in individual tasks, though. You actually have these in a log within the form section, so you could see it by number if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the things, as he had mentioned, is taking this and creating a quote out of that project. So you have this project here, this quote number, and then what you're doing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're doing is you're actually taking that and creating a project to do your RFQs out of, correct?
Yep. So as soon as we get a quote number, we create a project for that, a project in Fieldwire for that quote number, and get the plans in there right away, get our categories put together. And then the main thing that we're using this for is for RFQs, so a request for quote. And we've got a gear and lighting package here that you can see we break it down so that the entire fixture schedule is in there. We attach it to the plan with the fixture schedule and crop that so that it's right there. And then our counts and specific drawings are all located in that task. And then from there, we take that and create a report, and we send that to our suppliers. And this is the report. So we send this, so the gear and lighting is all together. And one thing that the suppliers have said is that it makes our projects really easy to quote.
That's awesome. And just so everybody knows, that same information that was linkable in the task is also linkable within the report itself. Mm-hmm. So when you send it to your suppliers, they have access to that information. Same with the photos or the screenshots in this case.
Yep.
That's pretty neat. One of the things that we kind of wanted to touch on here was when you actually get awarded the project and things are done, what do you do with it? Do you just create a brand new one and leave this behind?
Nope. We go into settings and we just take that QOO number off, and it becomes an active project. And then we change the project code so that it is no longer in bidding and estimating. It's for the general or the company that we're doing the work for. So it makes it very easy to start from quote to active. It's a very simple transition.
Awesome. And then that actually ends up looking something like this, which is what you were saying. You just remove the quote number in the bidding and estimating, and now it's a live active project for you to work on, correct?
Yes. So this one, it started out as a quote number, and then once we were awarded, we started the transferring it to an active project. And through the use of import tasks, we were able to get all of our project management tasks and everything put together so that it went in very quickly. And what we did is we just took an Excel spreadsheet and copied the import task columns, and we just fill this out and import it. And you can add hundreds of tasks in a few minutes. A couple of minutes on the front end makes a ton of time saved on the back end. So
I love to hear it, because that's one of the things that our importer is great at, is being able to throw those schedules in there, pre-plan your work, because that's something Fieldwire is uniquely capable of helping teams do, is pre-planning and documenting of work that's beyond just a normal punch list or Q&A process.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your statuses here. What was the process of creating those? Are they standard or unique?
Statuses, when I'd send out reports, everything was priority 1, priority 2, priority 3. It kind of didn't make sense to some of the generals. So what we've done is we created a status for the different phases of the project. So you've got project management, service and site work, building electrical, motors and IO for industrial projects, and then low voltage, because we do all that in-house, so it's nice to have a separate column for that phase as well.
Awesome. And I noticed that one thing I wanted to point out to the audience here is this is one of those free 3 that I talk about. You do today and in progress. And if any of these ever got beyond that selected end date, it would then go into overdue. But I'm sure that never happens with your teams, right?
Yeah, once in a while, maybe.
So one of the big things that you're doing on a project from a project management standpoint is project notes. Am I right?
Yep.
So what you end up doing is creating all these notes as the project goes on, and there's quite a few of them here, as you can see. But let's kind of dive into one of those. And can you walk us through what you're documenting?
Yep. So every Monday we send our general contractor a copy of the last week's project notes. Contains project progress photos, current focus, change orders, safety forms, and any RFIs or changes like red lines. So down here you can see our current focus and just the different things that have happened throughout the week that need to be communicated with the general. So they get a copy of it every Monday, and then any RFIs that we get from them, we incorporate that so they know we're seeing it and we're covering anything that comes up.
Awesome. And I just clicked off of that, didn't I? Find that 235 again. There we go. So one of the things that you had mentioned was tracking that information, like your change orders and stuff like
Yep.
that. That's all being done through forms.
Yep.
Awesome. And I know we have like a safety on-site here. We'll take a look at that. So you're able to go through and walk the job and fill this out.
Yep. So this is how we do our weekly toolbox talks. You know, that's a common thing throughout the construction industry, that everybody has a weekly safety meeting. So this is just our record of that safety meeting. So we put the whatever safety the general has for his weekly toolbox talk, we make sure that that's ours as well. So everybody's talking about the same safety thing. And we put the toolbox talk right in there. The guys go through and sign it, you know, after we've went through it together. And it also keeps a record of who's on the job and what safety topic's been covered.
That's awesome. And one of the things that the signature field, the way you're using it is they're going in and typing it in, and we're giving them a fancy little signature. But if you were using your foreman was out in the field doing this, they could actually use a iPad, and they can use their finger and sign for it just the same way through the iPad. So that is a different option for different teams.
Yep, it's just the way we do it. They all come to the trailer and we do a safety, and it's just easy for me to write it so you know who's actually there.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I also see up here where you're relating task as well. Yep. So you want to kind of walk us through maybe this wall penetrations? I know you've been saying that that's a major issue for y'all on this project.
Yes. So what we're doing here is in the plan, they've attached a task there on site on this plan that shows we need 2 more wall penetrations for the continuation of the fire alarm install. And we've attached that so that they can go back and look at those as well. So that's a guy in the field. He's attached that to me, so I know that it's there.
That's awesome. And it looks like your teams out in the field are really using Fieldwire for as-builting purposes.
Yes. Yes, that is one of the quickest way to take care of changes that have to happen, and taking care of, you know, red lines and things like that. The guys can do it out in the field, and it makes life on me very easy when I have to turn in all the as-builts at the end.
I bet. What are your field guys
from a paper copy, and it simplifies everything.
No, exactly. And the capabilities that are within Fieldwire for your team to document and send that information to you, whether it's a photo attached straight to it or attaching the actual document to it. So what are your field teams thinking about this?
I mean, they love it. They have all the information they need for the project right at their fingertips.
That's great. And it looks like that you've got some tasks here that were created for, by somebody out in the field here.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, yeah, I kind of want to jump into those forms because you do have a, pretty large use case for forms, from change orders to RFIs to timesheets. So, with your timesheets, we'll just kind of take a look at that if you don't mind.
Yep.
And you can actually see here, all your guys, are they coming in and individually documenting this, or is this something that the foreman or the project manager is recording time for?
Nope, actually our our office manager goes through every Monday and just updates the guys who are on the job's time from their individual timesheets. That because
Mhm.
the way that we work things is every employee has every guy and with DC Electric has a project of their own, and they have a specific timesheet in theirs. And so we take from those and transfer it to this so that there's just a project timesheet for every week.
Awesome.
Makes going back and seeing how many hours you had on the job, how many guys you had going through, really quick and easy.
And one of the new features that Fieldwire just launched recently, and it looks like your team's already taken advantage of it, is what we call forms calculations, where you can use basic expressions to be able to do things like totaling. So
Yep.
no more having to do the mental math. We'll do it for you.
That's right.
One of the other ways that I'm seeing other teams that are using this, and this is a new feature that Fieldwire also launched, is the ability for, if you're set up this way, you can have individual team members come in and fill out the same form without having to reassign it to multiple people. So if you're interested in that and you would like to know more about it, we're going to give you some resources at the end of this webinar for you to reach out. And one of our team members can help train you on how to utilize the new features and functions such as forms calculations. Little infomercial there in the middle of it. So one of the other things that we wanted to kind of touch on were your RFI usage, because I feel like this is something that subcontractors don't take enough advantage of, and that's tracking RFIs internally. They rely too much on the GC and their platform to track them. So, we're going to go take a look at one of these wall penetration ones that you were talking about. What's the value that you find with tracking RFIs within Fieldwire?
Well, it allows us to quickly reference drawings, specs, and utilize pictures to clearly get the necessary information to the generals, and it's improved the response time huge because they get sent out every Monday, as well as when I finish them, I send them out, so they're getting a double dose of it, and it makes it very just clear, and the information is all right there, ready to be used. So for this one, it was quite a large request for approval on wall penetrations. And what I did is actually created a task for each one and then made a report in that and incorporated the report into the RFI so that they could go through and see every spot that we had to penetrate the wall. So a brief description and then a picture of where exactly, and then a drawing that shows exactly the penetrations that we were putting in. So they could click on that and run through everything. I didn't have to send in, 25 RFIs for all these different wall penetrations.
Yeah, and I'm loving this concept of generating a report and then tagging that report into your RFI and then sending it out. Instead of sending it as two separate documents, you're able to generate them, link them together, or put them together in here and send it out as one document for the GC. Keeps it simple. They can't ever say, "Oh, well, I didn't get that."
Exactly.
You're one of the first contractors I've seen do that, and I'm telling you, my mind was blown when I saw it. I was like, it's like a nature. It just compounded. Yeah, so one of the other things that you're tracking pretty heavily in here is change orders. So are these change orders, how are you handling these change orders when it comes to creation through to submission to the GC?
So the way that we're doing this is when a change order pops up, I immediately put it in there so that they can see when it happened. And then, so like this one, as soon as I got the ASI request from the general, I put it in, put the price in, and then broke down the labor and the necessary materials, and then submitted it, and it's made the change order process. We're quickly getting approvals and moving forward with change orders that pop up every day, it seems like.
I love it. And then you're linking in the actual documentation that this change orders.
Yep. So that's the quote that we send them, or that we used to send them. Now I just send them this.
And are you sending it the same way as what we did with the other one, where you're exporting the form or emailing it directly out?
Yeah, I export it just so I have a copy of it, and then I send it that way. Because I found that sometimes if it comes directly from Fieldwire, they're a little skeptical at open it, so it's easier if it comes directly from me.
I understand that. Sometimes you feel like it's spam, even though it's not spam.
Yep.
You don't take that
Yep.
risk.
Once I tell them that, and show them how great it is, they understand. So
I love it. Awesome. So one of the other things that we kind of wanted to talk about was one of your special projects. You had a large shutdown not that long ago, I guess.
yep.
Man, the year's flying by. Maybe it was a little longer than I'm thinking, but
Yeah, it
you
was
kind of
March of
walk us.
2021.
Jeez, I can't believe we're almost finished with 2022. Yeah, so let's kind of jump into that. The Idahoan shutdown project, which
Yep.
is
Very top
right.
there.
So let's kind of talk through that, and if you don't mind walking us through what we're seeing and how this differs from your normal projects.
So this was a shutdown that had multiple projects that had to be done at the same time, as well as a maintenance punch list. So as you can see in the green, the dark green, those were all the projects that were active during that shutdown. And then the maintenance, that was our full maintenance punch list. And then safety management that required safety documentation, and then billing management as well, so that as things got done, we could track the billing of it as well.
That's awesome. With this process here, how do you think that streamlined it, keeping that communication and everything in a single location?
It made the management for us, me out in the field. I was working from a trailer at that point on the job. Having the ability to have this on there, it made it so I could track their hours, track materials coming in, keep track of the projects that were, because each project had a separate purchase order, so a separate billing. So it just made the whole process extremely simple, and we were able to get billing approved quickly. We were able to the success of the project wouldn't have been nearly as great as if we didn't have this.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that it was a success overall, whether we were involved or not. That's always kind of the key to the game, isn't it?
That's
So
right.
you had mentioned multiple work orders and stuff, and I know we had this one project here that kind of spelled that out. We were able to take a look at these work orders in a little bit more depth here. Can you kind of walk us through your process?
Right. So with that maintenance punch list, each maintenance item had a separate work order with a separate purchase order for its own billing. So when you have 30 plus work orders in a 2-week span, it can be difficult to track and difficult to maintain. So we made, again, custom forms. We took their work order form, basically created that inside of Fieldwire, so that all we had to do at the end was send them this, and the billing was immediately approved. They could see everything. They could see as it was done. So took their work order the PO that they gave us, the work order that they gave us, attached it right in, so that all the documentation for all of it was all in one place, and nobody had to jump around and go back and find things. It was just easy to maintain.
I love it. And, one of the big usages that your team seems to have is with the forms process. And I'm just curious, can you give us a quick rundown as to what is your difficulty rating on creating one of these custom forms? Is it something that you feel is worth the investment to create a custom form to be able to use it like this?
Definitely. The ability to create a custom form that, I mean, we had them in paper before, and the guys were filling out bid forms or filling out service call sheets. I mean, a lot of times you can't read their handwriting. You can't. It doesn't get in time. So with this, we can create it, assign it. It's done. The guys have it right on their phone, or on the project managers have it on their laptop or Surface that we use, and the ability to do custom forms has just streamlined our entire process and helped us really go paperless for a lot of things.
That's
So I
great.
would
And
say
one of
that custom forms are one of the best features of Fieldwire.
I can appreciate that. I've used quite a few custom forms myself, and it's always nice to hear somebody else be able to say that it's not the big headache that it can and daunting effort that it looks like when you first start.
Exactly. Us construction guys, we're not good at the paperwork. So if we can get rid of that and do something like this, it makes life a lot easier.
I love it. No more coffee stains or just,
Right.
losing under the toolbox for a month.
That's right.
One of the things that we kind of wanted to show was that way you're using timesheets on this project versus your other project. And if you come in here and we take a look at this, you'll see that, you've linked your work orders directly to it. Can you kind of give me an idea as to why that's happening or what value this adds?
Yeah, it's just not only does it clarify, when I send the report at the end of the week, they can see exactly what work order the guys were working on. But for billing purposes back at the office, they know that, although their time was under 24180, it attached to work order number 14866. And so it creates a streamlined billing process. And then for payroll, it goes right into QuickBooks as well. So that just it makes it so everything's clear and we're catching everything and not missing some of these minor things that don't always get communicated. Sometimes the communication stops on a hectic project, and this helps clarify things.
Definitely just making sure you know where every dollar is being spent correctly.
Yes.
One of the other things I kind of wanted to point out here for the audience is that with the forms and everything being tracked in one spot, you do have the capability of coming in and exporting this as a PDF or a CSV file. So you basically create, if it's an RFI, you can create your own RFI log that lists out, each one of the forms and the status and the creation and all that information as well. But for a work order, if you need to go through and you need to send this over, hey, how many work orders did we actually do for you? You could take this, send it directly over to the GC and say, these are all the work order numbers. What do you need?
Yep.
Which ones are you looking for? So that's awesome. We got another minute or so. I'd like to kind of jump into and talk about what you're doing with your tools and equipment and tracking of stuff. I know you've got a pretty unique setup here.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you're a larger shop, you got a lot of tools that need to be multiple projects or get checked in and out. So what we've done is we've created a tool checkout system so that at any time, any of the guys in the field can log in or can access this and see if the tool that they need is at the shop or if it's checked out by another foreman or on another job. So for instance, our arc flash suits, you can go in there at any time and see those and see exactly which ones are in the shop, which ones aren't. So if you send a guy back or if we have a shop guy deliver it or whatever. And the guys go through and they say which one they took, where it's at, if there's damages or repairs needed, they take pictures and see that, oh, there's an issue with this helmet, we can't use that anymore. So it just helps maintaining your tools, because without the tools, the jobs can't get done. So if we know where the tools are at, we know who has them, it allows for, that instead of running around looking for tools for 2 hours, you just pop up this and see, oh, Jake's got it, I'll call Jake. So it's really made that life simple.
That's nice. And is this kind of an honor system deal where your team comes in and
Yep,
signs
they do it on their phone as they take the tool out, they check it out. When they bring it back, they check it back in. So it's all done from their phones as they're doing it in the morning or at the end of the day.
That's great. And I see here ground rod pounders. Is that an actual tool? We've always called those apprentices where I was.
That's right. We can't check out the apprentices, so we had to get a post hole pounder for them.
There you go. Yeah, this is great. I love the way this is set up, and I love the unique thinking that you have behind each one of these and moving that forward and saying, hey, how can we utilize tasks differently within our company to maximize our processes? And you had one more that I kind of wanted to touch on before we get into the Q&A here. That's your vehicle equipment. So your vehicle equipment process it's pretty similar, isn't it, to your tools? Or I see a lot of different statuses here in different
It's a little
categories.
different. Basically, we use it as a fleet management system so that we can track oil changes, we can track different types of repairs that are needed. What they do is whoever's driving that vehicle, if they notice something wrong, they create a task under the different categories here and assign it to our office manager, and then she schedules the maintenance, and the guys know when it's happening because she'll put a date on it, and we can get things quickly taken care of so that the vehicles stay in the field and don't have problems.
That's awesome, and especially when it comes to safety, making sure your teams got safe equipment for getting to and from the projects. Wobbly front end, that's probably something you want to take a look at.
And we being in construction industry, we're subject to DOT, having the DOT kits. So we track that, which vehicles have them, which ones don't. So there's never a question of, hey, I didn't have that. Well, it was checked out to you, where to go.
Exactly. And it looks like you're using categories, so these each one of your fleet vehicles.
Yep.
Awesome. You're tracking not only vehicles, but your heavy equipment as well. It looks like your mini X and your scooters. Scissor lifts. You got your own scissor lift. Special.
Those are too many lifts.
Awesome. Is there anything else?
With availability now, you got to buy your own just so you know you got it.
Exactly. And I always had to beg, borrow, and steal to get one. That was the way we did it.
That's right.
Good deal. So is there anything else you kind of want to cover before we go into the Q&A?
We run our service calls kind of through this the same way. We do custom forms for basically the service call form that the guys were filling out on paper. We incorporated that right into a custom form, and we track our service calls the same way we kind of do our bids. So it's just makes everything all in the same place, easy access and viewable wherever you're at.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to kind of walk us through this. And I know we got a few questions coming in, so I'm going to pass it over to Melissa. And Melissa, you got a few questions for us?
Thank you, Josh. And yeah, we do have some questions trickle in right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask the first one. Okay. So it looks like this one is for Steven. Steven, why don't you just use the same software that the GC uses?
Well, I could give you the harsh answer, or Fieldwire is just easiest for us. I think it provides the best project management platform. Plans are accessible, tasks are accessible, forms are accessible. There's no other project management software, whether it's Procore or Bluebeam or whatever, that has all of it in one place. And it's accessible for the guys no matter where they're at. Works on Android, works on iPhone, works on just about everything that we use. So it's the only one that has it all.
I agree with that. Okay, next question, and this one is for Josh. Do I have to recreate a form for every project?
So that's a great question. No, you don't have to recreate the form for every project if you utilize our account level forms templates process. And I'll kind of give you a quick rundown of what that looks like. If I can find it, there we go. I had to get back over here. So the ability to take a form, let's go to a project here.
I've got a bunch of them in there. So if you just go to the new forms on mine, you can pull it right up.
Onto the new forms?
Yep. Go
So
to
if you,
plus new form over there, new
Mhm.
template, and import from account, and it is all right there.
Why is it not clicking? There we go. I got a little delay here. So yeah, these are coming in from your account level. See,
Yep.
these are all forms that he's taken, created at a project level, and then synced up to the account level and pulled it back. And I'll give you an idea of what that looks like. So from the account level, under templates here, you'll see all the forms that have been created. Of course, mine is huge because we utilize forms across the board. It's not only forms, but it's also checklists. So you don't have to recreate that checklist every time as well. And if you do have more questions on how to make this process work for you, I'm lagging here. If you do have questions on how to make this work for you, please feel free to reach out to us at any time.
Okay,
Hope that answered the question.
next one, and then this one is also regarding forms. So Josh, can forms be sent to anyone?
So yes, they can. It depends on what you're wanting to do for that. If you want to just send it out to somebody to view, then we have the ability to, like we kind of talked about a minute ago, email directly from the form. On the right hand side, you got the little email button, or you can download it, and like Stephen prefers to do, download it and send it from as a PDF attachment in your own email, so it doesn't have that Fieldwire header or anything like that, and pulls a little more information. But if you're needing somebody to actually engage with the form, then it's a little bit of a different story. If you need to have that form sent to somebody to actually execute on a particular line item, say it's a timesheet and you want Joe over here to come in and fill out his time, we have settings and capabilities that will allow Joe to come in and alter that timesheet, just the sections that he needs to alter, without having to reassign it to each individual person. So you can have a whole group come in and do that. The flip side to that is that person that is interacting with it needs to have a Fieldwire license. So that Fieldwire license can be paid for by themselves, or it can be paid for and covered by your company. So if you invite them in and they are just a basic user or a non-paying user, your company is going to take on the expense of that user. If that user is a paying customer, whether it's a pro or a business level or an enterprise level user, he can come in and utilize your Fieldwire when invited at the permission levels that you set for them without having any issues. So without you having to pay for them. Even if you are on a business level like Stephen and his team are, and they're only on a pro level, they're allowed to engage with the business level features only on that in particular project. I hope that answers it. It was long-winded, but if you have any other questions, like once again, reach out to some of our resources.
Awesome. And then last question, this one's for Stephen. Who did you invite to your projects? Just your own employees?
No, there's certain projects where we've invited GCs to it or engineers to it. We've got a couple customers that we've incorporated, their safety people into it. It kind of depends on what the project is and what's really required. But we've incorporated everybody that we can. It really has made a huge difference.
And like I kind of mentioned a second ago with the forms part of that, you can invite people into it and not have them see everything that you want. We have permission levels on both the account and the project level. So somebody can be an account manager on your account level and have access to everything at the account level, but within that particular project can only see and only make markups based on the follower permission, which is the lowest permission level. So it's really flexible to come in and try and find your happy balance. Awesome. So I guess we got a minute left. So Melissa, you want to kind of take us home?
Yeah, I'll wrap everything up. So thank you everyone for joining today. Just a reminder that we do have an upcoming webinar for lean construction on October 12th, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And also for any questions that we didn't get through in today's presentation, we will be reaching out via email to answer those. And you'll also be receiving a copy of this recording and slide deck. But thank you all for your time. Thank you, Stephen and Josh, and we'll see you in the next one.
Appreciate it. And thank you, especially Stephen, for taking the time. Y'all have a great one.
No problem.